Hello, this is doctorarjaybe, and today I wanted to discuss a condition that can cause a lot of problems. It's chronic obstructive lung disease. The letters spell out the word cold, but has nothing to do with any kind of a viral illness. Chronic obstructive lung disease or chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, which people say is COPD, is a condition where there's been some injury to the lungs, which becomes a chronic state. Most common cause of chronic obstructive pulmonary disease or chronic obstructive lung disease is cigarette smoking. Cigarettes cause injury to the lungs and over time can cause enough damage. There are two types of chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. One is called chronic bronchitis and the other is called emphysema. Now, chronic bronchitis is a chronic coughing type state. It's kind of similar to asthma as far as the decrease in the ability to breathe deeply. But it's more associated with development of a lot of mucus that has to be coughed up. Actually, when people talk about having a smoker's cough, they're actually talking about this. The smoker's cough is actually the start of chronic bronchitis. So even though people talk about smoker's cough as being something no big deal, it actually, like I said, is the start of chronic bronchitis and can cause a lot of problems later on. Now, the other type of chronic lung disease is called emphysema. Emphysema is where there is damage to the lung tissue. Our lungs have membranes that oxygen can pass through, so they can't be very thick. With emphysema, scar tissue causes thickening of those membranes, which prevents the ability of oxygen to pass through to the circulation. So this condition tends to cause difficulty with breathing. Somebody who has emphysema may have trouble with breathing when they go upstairs. They might have difficulty breathing when they go for a walk. And in some cases, it gets so bad that they need to be on oxygen therapy to help them breathe. It's associated with a decreased lifespan. And chronic bronchitis, the other form, can go into this because after a while with chronic bronchitis, you start developing damage to the lungs. And so chronic bronchitis could be the start and emphysema the end. Once you develop emphysema, there's a certain amount of time before you're eventually going to need oxygen. And then there's a certain amount of time where you're probably going to not be alive. As the condition worsens as you get older, it tends to get worse and worse until you need oxygen therapy and until it shortens your lifespan. Cigarette smoking, again, is the most common cause. Air pollution is another cause, but typically air pollution will cause the condition to occur much, much later in life. So that if you are a cigarette smoker, maybe you got the condition at age, let's say 50 or 60. If it's air pollution, maybe we're talking about 90 to 100. Well, once you get up to, if you can live long enough to be 90 or 100 years of age and you have emphysema, good for you. Because, probably at that age, you're not really doing too much activity anyhow. So it's not as big a disability. But if you're 50 or 60 years of age and you're still working and you have emphysema, that's going to shorten your ability to work. It's much worse when people develop it when they're younger. The biggest thing you can do for yourself is get off the cigarettes. Even if you have the start of emphysema and you stop smoking, you're going to, improve the condition of your lungs so that maybe you can reverse some of the damage that's already there. You definitely can't get rid of you can't come back from dead lung tissue, but you can improve your lung function enough by stopping smoking that sometimes it doesn't matter as much. So I've seen people who had a lot of breathing troubles from their emphysema get off the cigarettes, take good care of themselves, and their emphysema became to the point where they didn't even notice it. So, the earlier you can get off the cigarettes, the better it is. Okay, so that's a little bit about chronic lung disease.